let's preview this game. So let's take a look at the last two meetings here because they're important to note. We told you back in the preview show, week 8, it was going to be a night and day ball game from the week 1 version. And it wasn't. Week 1, DC rides several game-changing plays on defense to a 22-18 win in Audi Field. 93 passing yards that night. Can you believe that? Seems like forever ago. But they forced 3 turnovers. 1 pick 6 and a flip from Mike Joe, what you just saw. He had another one that set DC up in the red zone. De'Aaron King punches it in. But what it all came down to, when Big Anthony Hines met Ben DiNucci at the goal line, knocked that magic bean loose, Jamal Brooks fell on it, sayonara Sea Dragons. That was the end of it. 20 seconds left in the game when that happened. They lost, and yes, I can admit, as a DC Defenders fan, that the Sea Dragons were better that night. But it doesn't matter, because yardage doesn't win football games. Well, in week 8, Seattle wasn't going down like that. By the way, DiNucci threw it 54 times in week 1, still a record. Jordan Ta'amu had to take matters into his own hands in this film you're watching right now. 247, 4 touchdowns, no picks for the MVP candidate a few weeks ago. Chris Blair, who had 1 target in the first meeting, goes off. 5 catches, 148 yards, and the game-winning touchdown, which you'll see here in a bit. Man, he shook Bryce Thompson, galloped 70 yards, 2 pay dirt. Fun fact, the Sea Dragons outgained DC in both of those matchups. I think you probably already knew that. Like we said, yardage does not win football games. There was a point in the season where Seattle was incapable of scoring touchdowns inside the 40-yard line. That has changed. They have fixed the red zone woes against St. Louis and Vegas. They are now punching it in when they get down there. So credit Seattle there. Where they now have a third opportunity to make the last 2 not matter for squat. Will they take advantage of it? Zook, the moment you've been waiting for the last 10 weeks, not only do you get to leave the studio and go to your first XFL 2023 game, now the floor is yours to tell us whatever you'd like about your Seattle Sea Dragons. Take it away.
Oh, man, I love this segment. This is my favorite. So I know, yes, yards don't win games. What I will say is, I've been saying this for a while, both games were only 5 points. We're talking about 5 points. A couple possessions here and there. Combined. So one thing I want to, the week 1 matchup,
put the X over it.
We're all just trying to get acclimated into the league. I'm scratching that. But I am going to highlight.
Even if Seattle won, by the way, I hope you'd have that same.
I also agree. I mean, it would mean a lot more if it was a season split.
It was a wacky game.
But there was a lot of mistakes going on in that game. I'm not judging them off the first 3 weeks of their season at all, especially when they start 0-2. All right, so, but the week 8 game, Seattle racks up 301 pass yards, but the stat that jumped out to me was third down conversions. They were 30%. Yeah. We know they're way better than that. We sit here and watch those games.
3rd and 5 and above, maybe.
And we talk, like 3rd and 1, no good.
Yeah.
3rd and long, great. So I think that efficiency is going to go up for sure.
Right.
Also, they scored 6 points in the first half. That's unheard of for the best offensive team, right?
Yeah. Looked like the under in the first half of that game.
Yeah.
They scored 30 combined in the 4th.
So I just don't see them only scoring 6 points again. Now, we get into the second half of that game. I feel like June figured something out. He made some kind of adjustments. They absolutely gashed your secondary. The only problem with that is they scored too quick. DC has 65 offensive snaps, and Seattle's just scoring the ball, couple play drives.
Yep.
So we got a tired defense.
Defense got tired.
Right? It's tough. So the two things.
That changed against St. Louis. They changed the way they play.
So, I mean, right now, Ben DiNucci has the most confidence and swag in the league. And why not? You got this group of 5 guys. It's crazy. So, I mean, Peasy, number 1 in yards. Josh, number 6. Jackson, number 9. Green, number 11. In the league, yards.
Yeah. Touchdowns ain't bad either.
You got
Jawan Green has a few.
And they're spread. There's nobody that's really throwing it out there. But,
yeah.
I mean, Jackson and Green are having the benefit of everybody covering Pearson and Gordon.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, why wouldn't you be cocky and looking at players sideways?
Blake Jackson a little banged up now. A little shoulder injury.
Okay, well,
yeah.
Next man
Keep
up,
an eye
right?
on it.
We want to take a look at Ben's stats. I mean, they speak for themselves.
Where's the turnovers?
We didn't include that in the graphic. Why don't you just pipe down now over there?
No, he's been great in his own right.
He has, and again, it all comes with confidence. And I think because he has that swag, it's like oozing to the rest of the team. Everybody else it's infectious, right? So that's huge. And then we're gonna flip sides of the ball and go to the defense. When you got this guy running around, making plays. I mean, look at his stats. I don't have to get into them.
It's a Freshie award for the quarterback nightmare midseason.
So, and you're looking at Seattle's defense is very underrated, in my opinion. What did we determine? First in points against?
First scoring defense in the league.
First in points against?
You're going up against the total scoring offense. That's number 1.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's fine.
Checkmate.
Man,
34-33. Do we get this many points again?
I think we do. I think it's going to be a shootout.
Even in the rain, huh?
Yeah, you have to. But anyways, like I said, I think June has figured something out. He's going to have success. I'm trying to get through this segment without the emotion.
Oh, wow.
But here's the thing. So we're talking about rain, a lot of rain. Seattle also doesn't get credit for their run game.
Run game?
Yeah, they don't. They actually have. I think I misspoke earlier. Houston's second in the league. Seattle's
that was
third
Juice
in the
Ellison,
league.
though. You got to admit.
Okay, I get that. But the other discount that nobody's giving them is they have a quick hitter, screen game, get the ball out fast.
That is a substitute for
that
the run.
is the substitute for their run game.
That's a good point.
So as long as we're successful there and DiNucci doesn't turn the ball over.
Big if.
I mean, yeah, sure.
Bad memories for Ben.
Stop
Walking
it.
back in that stadium again.
Anyways, yeah, there's a stat. 962 yards they have on the ground. That's not that bad. I mean, DC's the best, and they only have, 500 more yards?
Yeah, something like that.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, they got to protect the ball.
DiNucci's racked up a lot of rushing yards. I would have liked to see his total. It's got to be, 350, 400 probably
Right.
at this point. So.
And so we get back to something I know you commented with watching the games with me is, man, do they lay the hits?
Yeah.
Right? Which also caused 9 forced fumbles. 8 of them they got.
Yeah.
And that's the only category. I mean, interception-wise, they don't do a lot of that. They're not pushing. But that forced fumbles, and it's because they're hitting it. So maybe a couple whacks in the beginning, and DC receivers start to get a little...
It's weird from Bryce Thompson, right? Because he missed the tackle. And there was a debate, are you letting him score, whatever. He missed the tackle against Chris Blair, which ultimately lost the game at the end.
Right.
Bryce Thompson came back, shadowed Darius Shepard the entire game against St. Louis, laid multiple hits on him. He could not get open. And Darius Shepard is a damn good receiver that they could not use because he was neutralized by Bryce Thompson. The same way that Michael Joseph ignited DC's season by that pick 6 you saw in week 1, that week 8 game changed everything for Seattle going into the dome and building the confidence the way they did. I mean, we're talking 30-12 here. It wasn't even close. A lot of people were thinking that was going to be a close game. It was not. I think that's changed everything. So after all those chill vibes from Zook and the hipster horde of dragons in Dragonland or Dragon Tales, whatever you want to call it over there, let's lay down the damn law. We make the laws in the District of Columbia, and that's not going to stop on Sunday. So enjoy church and get out to Audi Field. Here's the reality, guys, in the XFL North Championship game. Once Seattle steps into that stadium on Sunday afternoon, and they're dragging their feet in the Audi Field mud puddles that are going to be across that Bermuda grass. We've seen it before. And they look up in the sky, and they see the dark cloud just hanging over that place. It's quickly going to set in. you aren't throwing the ball for 400 yards. So how are you going to beat DC? Well, there's other ways, of course. You might have steady winds of 10 miles an hour with gusts up to 25. You might have receivers on ice skates out there not able to keep their footing. But players play better in certain occasions when these games start to go on and adjustments start to get made, as Zook pointed out. So can they adjust to the rain, is I guess what I'm saying. So no, I'm not dumb enough to conclude here that weather conditions are going to totally decide the outcome of the game. I think they could affect the first half, specifically the first quarter, until players start to adjust, maybe change their spikes a little bit. But it definitely can factor in. Weather plays a factor here. So the defenses, what do we know about these two? DC scores more than anyone. They put up 30 points a game. I just covered that with Zook. Seattle allowing the fewest in the league, 17.7 points per game. So go ahead and bring up that graphic, Zook. This is going to be the key. DC defenders, both sides of the ball, balanced attack. Look at some of these guys here. Michael Joseph. I credited him with the play that ignited the season. These are grades by Pro Football Focus, the highest 5 on the team. And we're going to get into these a little bit more as we go on. I wanted to show you guys it's players on both sides of the ball in almost every position unit. You have defensive backfield quarterbacks, a receiver, a linebacker, and the second level of that defense with Gardner, and the offensive line has just been so damn good. Let's look at the next one here, Zook. This is the touchdown trio that I wanted to get to. Jordan Ta'amu is an MVP candidate. Through the air and on the ground, accounted for 17 touchdowns. He is the definition of a dual threat quarterback. He fits the system perfectly, and he executes these RPOs to perfection this season. It's off the charts how good this short pass game has been. Just a well-oiled machine. And sure, they'll take a little hit from the rain in the pass game, just like Seattle will. But good luck stacking the box, because Jordan will beat you over the top if he has to. And what Jackson and Blair can do after the catch has been phenomenal. Above all else, this offense's ability to score touchdowns in the red zone is what has won them games. They do it better than any team in the league. If they're down inside the 10, inside the 5, they score touchdowns. And they've been really good in the conversion game as well for those extra points. They do it at the highest clip I've seen maybe since the 2021 Packers, who were just running Devontae Adams around and scoring touchdowns. And I took that for granted. So DC, got to keep that up. Heavy dose of Abram Smith, I think you'll see, because we're not going to have any more Raquel Armstead. You'll hear from Reggie Barlow coming up on his release, and how DC is going to kind of approach that running back room in the playoffs. We'll have more on that in a second. But it hurts a little less to lose your second running back when you've got De'Aaron King. De'Aaron King will be a factor in this game, as he has in every other game this season. And he'll be tasked with taking care of the ball, which he's got to do a little better job of. Some of his lone weaknesses revolve around the turnovers. So, like we said, De'Aaron King, highest graded player on offense, according to Pro Football Focus. DC wasn't necessarily effective running the ball in the Week 8 meeting. I think they had 87 total yards, just around 2.5 yards a carry. Not going to cut it. I think the defenders have actually ran the ball well against every other team but Seattle. They didn't run it well in Week 1 either. So I'm thinking here, Seattle, below average production in the pass game. DC, below average production in the run game. Take from it what you will. When it comes to special teams, the kickers, Eberle on Seattle's side, McCrane on DC's side, 2 of the best 4 in the league, for sure. They're all XFL guys. Both sides have some explosive return men. We saw Puka Williams rip off an 80-yard return last week. Kelvin McKnight has been a highlight reel for Seattle. Special teams will matter in this game. Seattle has blocked some punts as well. So your guy Tuzar Skipper, who you highlighted, has been in there to block punts. This is going to be a weird day on special teams. And I know we don't highlight it a lot, but when that ball is wet, it'll start bouncing around on special teams. Going to have to make sure the long snappers are on point. The punters are on point. You don't want any muff punts on either side. Whew. If I didn't have my heart set on my defenders going out and scoring 60 in this one, I'd probably take the under if I was completely unbiased. I think 48.5 is a little out of control. Once you see the weather conditions, I think it'll get bet down a little bit. But of course, I got DC to win. I got DC to cover. They're great against the spread. This is our moment. 8-0 in Audi Field, dating back to 2020. Let's make it 9-0. Let's get the playoff beer snake in there. The road to the Alamo Dome starting Sunday. Shields up. Period. Go.
Clearly, I'm picking Seattle. I'm so glad. Here's a week that Matt and I don't agree on much, and I love it.
I don't think we agreed on anything.
We agreed that Houston would win money line, basically.
Well, at minus 300, yeah. I'll give
So
you that.
here's the thing. I wanna have a little rebuttal on what you said about DC. We are gonna stack the box,
Go for it.
and you haven't run the ball well against Seattle,
Take away the run.
and for the same reasons you're saying that Seattle's not going to throw the ball well. What makes you think Jordan will?
You throw deep. We throw short.
Okay, but
Better chance of Tamu getting that ball out.
sure, maybe, but they're probably the best tackling team in the league. You won't see it in the stats, and I tried to find it so I could
They weren't
highlight
week
it.
one.
I tried to find it so I could highlight it, but what do we talk about all the time when we're watching games? Oh, here we go. Great tackle. Great tackle. Great tackle. I'm like a broken record sitting in here watching the games. Great tackle. Great
It
tackle.
wasn't like that all
There's
year.
not a lot of
Last
yards
couple
after
weeks,
cut.
for
There's
sure.
not a lot of yak.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean,
Guys, it's going to be a great game. We are delighted to both be able to go to see this in person. Thank you to both sides. Great staffs in both DC and Seattle, as well as the league office, for giving us the opportunity to go to this game together. And we will be separated. We will not be sitting together for reasons because we have an obligation to the Believe Network to have shows.
I wouldn't want to sit with you anyways. It's bad enough watching a game on the couch with you.
If you see Chris Zook in his dumb-looking orange poncho
I will have an
in
orange
the
poncho.
fourth quarter, when DC's up about 36 to 18, I'd say,
Wow.
and he's hoping on some 4th and 15 nonsense and, a conversion from the 25-yard line.
36-18, so you're going to say the over's hitting, huh? That's what I caught out of that.
By the way, can we point out that just that moment, one of my favorite moments of the XFL season, Week 8, Seattle can't get a measly yard on a 3-point conversion try that would have won them that game ultimately.
Okay, well, they
But
made a
get
mistake.
one from the 25.
They made a mistake, and they didn't put Lindsey in.
That's true. And
I think-
Darius Bradwell no longer with Seattle.
So here's another thing. I didn't talk about this, but I should have.
Mhm.
Philip Lindsay is probably now finally in game shape.
Yeah, he did say he hadn't played a game in a while.
Right. Dude's
Well,
what?
If you watch Player 54, I don't know if you saw it yet. It was hilarious.
I didn't get to.
On Philip Lindsay's first play from scrimmage, Greg Williams comes over and tells Francis Bernard, the quarterback of our defense, if 30 in orange is out there on the first snap, they're going swing pass screen. It happened.
Wow.
Greg Williams knew, even with the Broncos, what Philip Lindsay was used for. You said substituting the run with that swing pass game.
Right.
Williams saw it coming. This June Jones versus Greg Williams matchup
Great.
is a football IQ heaven.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a chess match all day between two guys who have been around the sport forever and have had so much success on their respective sides of the ball. So we'll see. I mean, I can't wait for that matchup. If I had to guess, the defenses are going to be hitting hard, and you're going to hear some crunching hits on the broadcast.
Oh my God.
By the way, I want to say,
You know that players are getting warned in this one.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
going to be some scrums.
right,
And hopefully, I mean, nobody gets any suspensions for the championship game.
yeah, I don't know if you saw this yet, but ESPN is giving us an alternative broadcast on ESPN Plus. No broadcast. It's just going to be game audio. So you're going to get one with natural sound, quarterback to coach communication,
get out.
defensive coordinators, no game audio from the play-by-play or the color commentator or the sideline reporters.
That's
Full on,
awesome.
sounds of the game.
No dump button either.
I don't know about that.
That's what I want. I'm watching that.
That's on.
I'm rewatching that.
Yeah, that's on ESPN X. But yeah, they also have a Skycam view that they're going to give us if you just want to watch the broadcast with the game announcers with just the Skycam. I could do without that view. It's okay on replays and stuff.
Right.
But I don't want to watch a whole game like that and feel like I'm playing Madden. You know, I could do that on video games. But no, I think I will. When we watch this game back, I will partake in the sounds of the game. That sounds awesome. Really get to know every single call. We love the broadcasters, don't get us wrong, but we want to hear that game sound as well.